Todd, on the Waffle Box thing, it was awesome.
Yeah, tell me Waffle Box. Sorry to go over
literally
Waffle
made
Box.
this sweet
Welcome to Mind Control.
waffle making.
Why are we doing that right
that
now?
made cool waffles you could hold for years.
Yeah.
And they still sell them, right? Snowbird
I
or
think they still sell them at Snowbird in a couple
they
restaurants.
popped up.
Are you like a national hero?
What led you to design?
I'd always been like hands-on. The first project I can think of, my father
That's my
made
question.
me
Yeah.
build my sister a stereo stand for her Billie Jean 8-track player.
Okay.
And
Nice.
her boombox. I never really thought like, well, I have to go buy that.
Right.
You know?
I can always figure this out.
And and so starting from there, it's always kind of been that like why not? Someone has to do this.
Yeah.
How many jobs would you say you've had through your, like straight up, these are jobs where you've been on a payroll, not where you're like, I'm
I've been
home, I'm working.
paid as like a
employee.
consultant.
Paid as a consultant
someone
or
expects me to
employee.
do something?
Yeah, somebody actually pays you money and you actually go, I can do that, here we go.
I would say at least a dozen.
Okay.
Got into like the venture capital world for a while because my major in economics at Duke undergrad. And I was
sure.
like,
Did you go to Duke?
I did. Worked for a super high-end custom furniture guy out of Atlanta. His big thing was we made custom veneers. Really neat. And so,
That's really
I
cool.
wound up having a spray booth for probably 5 or 6 years when
Nice.
just in a guy's garage, and I would just like
That's so
spray
cool.
random stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
So was that your master's in industrial design? I didn't know you'd studied industrial design.
So more
Tell
product
us
design.
more about that. Like
My
Yeah.
original side of design was product design, and I got into it on the digital design side
That's cool.
to like animate products and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
no kidding.
So we build products and we do all different kinds of things like that. My first job was
pretty dope.
I designed the interiors for super yachts.
no way.
First job I had here, I was working at REI at their customer service, doing like kind of like product return, like with a guy, a really interesting guy that he started the Center for Animation at CU College of Art and Design.
Dude, that's cool.
And so I was like employee 2 there, which was kind of fun. He was a rigger for Shrek. He rigged Shrek.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was full on like animation world.
Yeah.
And like studio, but we needed a complement to him on the, because they were merging with the medical center.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started doing a lot of stuff that would do like visualizations for the medical field and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And like stuff.
I was gonna say, there's nothing better than medical and just animation from Shrek coming together.
Well, I mean,
all the medical things just have
I mean,
like a...
it was a
Donkey's
really
voice.
unique combination because, he could rig anything. So it was really neat.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I was there for years. I mean, I wound up kind of constantly
Super
finding
random.
experiences that were like completely unique. Looking back on it, explaining to my father was an independent insurance agent for 45 years, right? My grandfather started it, and I was like, this isn't really what I'm going to be doing. It took me till I was about 40 to realize that like my career has been like a series of starting and helping people and moving from one project to another.
Yeah.
And not like just a linear like start with one company, whether it's like an awesome firm like Voltage where you could have a career here.
Right.
I am
That's
like
cool.
a starter. Like,
Right.
and I like being around people when they're at that point and they're super passionate about it.
That's one thing we talked about is like how much fun it is when you
in that
at this
building
point
stage.
people are always hey, I need a logo, hey, I need this is where I want to increase my business, this is where I want to go, and people are always so excited about it because it's not 20 years in where they're like I hate this. I don't know what I'm
No,
doing,
and so it's realized that I made like a kind of a semi-career out of like starting projects and moving from project to project.
Yeah.
And it took a while for me to have that, like be okay with it.
Yeah, because it's terrifying.
Well, it is.
For me.
I mean, and my wife is like very like stable and like just amazing lawyer and stuff like. So that's like a definite like.
That's nice.
It is like definitely gives a huge buffer to being able to jump from one thing to the other.
Sure.
Did you start? So you helped start some restaurants too, right?
I helped John open 12 Degree here on Main Street. It's a brewery. One of my favorite places in town, actually. Still, I mean, he and I'm still do some stuff with him as far as restaurant stuff. But one of those situations where like he needed a skill set that wasn't his, and he needed someone that wasn't going to look for any equity in a new starting like small brewery that had been his dream.
An angel investor.
And so what it came down to, I was like, you kind of need someone to help whittle down all your choices.
Yeah.
To help you like weight the choices of things you're not even like you're slowed down because this isn't what you're good at.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
he is incredibly meticulous, amazing brewer. But
this is what you want in a brewer.
But
you don't want him worried about it.
But he would get slowed down in just making the decisions of like the whole experience and the customer interaction. He needed someone with a different skill set, and I'm like, well, this is perfect. Like, I can work for you. I can work with you. I'll give you a year.
Yeah.
Because I've done restaurant stuff and run saloons at guest ranches and stuff like that. And so,
you gotta hang out.
A good old-fashioned saloon.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, up in Paradise Guest Ranch in Wyoming.
Was it really?
Oh yeah. Did you ever go up there? It's pretty
in.
fantastic. So it did that. Patrick and I opened Pour, the original one behind Bittersweet.
Right.
So the little one behind Bittersweet used to be a complete little monster of a place. It was crazy.
With Todd on the Waffle Box thing. It was awesome.
Tell me
He
Waffle
literally,
Box.
like,
Sorry to go over
literally
Waffle
made
Box.
this sweet waffle making
Why aren't we doing that
contraption
right
that
now?
made cool waffles you could hold in your hand for the ski areas.
Yeah.
And they still sell them, right? Snowbird or
I think they still sell them at Snowbird and a couple
they
restaurants. So
popped up
Are
some
you like a
shops.
national hero?
I was doing a restaurant for Powder up at Copper Mountain, where I was working on a menu for them, and I was like, the worst thing is like you're at the ski resort and you've got a kid and you got their stuff, and the kid needs to eat and you don't want to stop.
Utensils, like
You
plate.
need something you can walk and eat. So we made this thing called a waffle box.
I need someone to describe to me what a waffle box is,
So,
or I'm gonna lose my mind.
It's 2¼ inches square cube with
Okay.
a big cavity in the middle that you would fill with everything from ice cream to scrambled eggs and sausage and stuff like that.
Can I? Thank you.
It's awesome.
That's.
I sold the whole concept to Powder.
Yeah.
And then we turned it into. I spent maybe a year and a half, 2 years with them, turning it into like a small restaurant concept.
How do you foster creativity in your life? I mean, what do you do to stay creative?
To jump on that, a lot of times it's I have a deadline. I have to make something. I've got something going on. Your life is not like. You better make this or you're losing your house. You know what I mean? You're like, this is you totally fostered from within.
It's very different, and I completely appreciate that. But I don't work on the whole deadline world, which is kind of
weird. So how do you get that? How do you get that?
I think a lot of it
creativity
is just thinking that it can just get done.
Yeah.
Like that you can
Kind
do
of
it.
have a vision how you do
almost
it.
like
I mean, and that's
blind
what-
optimism.
An idea.
It really is. It's like almost like one of those things of like if it's being done, like you can kind of do it, and it's like your skill set, right? And it's like if it's in your wheelhouse, you can do it, and it's like you find some people that are either a little more skilled in some areas that can help me,
Yeah.
and usually I'm around people who are highly motivated,
Right.
Yeah.
that want to do something.
And it's contagious.
It is, and then they're like, "Really? We can do that?" And you're like,
Let's try it.
exactly. It's not like a
It's
yes.
almost like the,
It's like-
let's
it's-
see if we can do
Well,
it.
probably.
Yeah.
It is.
No, I
it's
think
kind
that's
of that
awesome.
falls into that like
Yeah.
like we can and we should be able to do this more. That's what it is. We should be able to do
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they usually have to decide if it's the should is a big enough, too much of a risk for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Any
cool.
other
It's fun.
advice for
Yeah,
young creative
up-and-comers
designing
that
kids that you tell
taking a
them?
weird way to get to where they're. Well, it's just a non-traditional way, right? Where
Yeah,
it's just
no,
like kind of
it's-
like, hey, this is how I went. And
Yeah, I mean, because I think that there is.
don't be afraid to switch jobs. I think that's what I learned from this one.
I mean, there's that. I mean, but I think you have to know kind of really what your skill set is. But also be like, be able to complement someone else's skill set. I mean, that's the biggest thing is to be able to really jump in
Yeah.
and work with people and not sell yourself as something you're really not.
You're supposed to hold hands
Oh, yeah.
when that, and you really make me feel good about
Yeah, I mean,
myself.
I've learned pretty hard lessons on like what skill sets I'm not gonna sell you that I'm gonna be able to help you with, because then I'm like, because usually I'm working with a small group,
Right.
and that they can't expect something that I can't.
Yeah, you're not going to be
Can't
like,
fake
and
it.
we'll make a
Yeah.
whole
You can't
movie
fake
over
it.
this, and yeah, you learn real quick.
I think that's
who's,
also something really cool
faking
about
it.
entrepreneurial efforts is it's really hard to fake it. I mean,
Especially when it comes
not
down
a
to
lot.
it. Yeah.
Big companies, people can kind of
Yeah, you
work their way around things, but when you're really, anyways.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thanks so much. Hang on, I got the bell that ends the meeting.
Oh, okay. Bring it, thanks.
Is that how this works?
Yeah.
That's the first time we've ever done that.
A mind control exclusive.